I'm going to run you through making a moist chocolate cake today. For this you're going to need 2 cups of white sugar, 1 3/4 cups of flour, 1 cup of cocoa, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk, half a cup of melted butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1 cup of boiling water. The first thing you want to do is add all the dry ingredients. So we're going to start with 2 cups of sugar. I like to sieve my sugar just to make sure that there's no big chunky bits in there. Sometimes the quality is not so good. So there we go, that's good. Next we add in the flour, so 1 3/4. And we'll sieve away all the bits of flour, the big chunky bits. We get a nice fine powder like this. All these little balls at the end, I always just push them through with my fingers anyway. There we go. Next we're going to put in the cocoa. I like to use Hershey's cocoa simply because it's higher in cocoa butter than most other cocos. And it's unsweetened as well. Some of the cocoa you can buy has already got sugar in it and so on. So a whole cup of cocoa. That's right, it is a chocolate cake after all, so it's got to have a lot of cocoa. Nice. Sift that in as well. There we go, looking good. Now, use a bigger sieve. I don't have one with me. I've only got this tiny sieve. If you've got a bigger sieve, this will be a lot quicker. But this is alright, it's doing the job for me. Next we add in 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Just dump that on. Heap teaspoons is fine. Like that. Don't need to worry too much about the sieve. And last but not least, the salt. Just 1 teaspoon is fine. Don't do what I did last week. I ended up putting in twice as much salt as was necessary and made a very salty banana cake. Still a good cake, but just a touch too salty. Now you want to just gently mix it all up until it's a good consistency. Now I'm a bit cheeky. Normally I use my hands for this just because I like getting in there and getting it done and making a huge mess, but because this one's going on video I thought I'd be a bit more civilized and use a spoon. Nearly there. Now I like to leave a little bit of a pocket in the middle for all the wet stuff that we're going to add in a minute. Okay, now we're going to add all the wet stuff. So first is 2 eggs. Now you can see why I like having the pocket. 1 cup of milk. Already smells like chocolate. And finally, butter. For the butter, I have a recipe. My recipe says use melted butter, and by that I mean very soft butter. So not runny liquid, but you can see here just how soft this is. It's not margarine, it is real butter. It's just been left at room temperature for a few minutes. So we just dump that in there. Let's use it all because butter's expensive in Singapore. There we go. And then lastly we add in our vanilla extract. So 2 teaspoons there. Oh, I do love the smell of vanilla. That's nice. In fact, I love it so much I'm going to put a little bit more in. Why not? There we go. Shouldn't be too overpowering, but just perfect. Now we've got it all in there, we're going to mix it up. So I'm going to take that off camera, mix it up, and then come back. So after 2 to 3 minutes, your mixture is going to start looking very chocolatey and smelling just as good. We're not quite done yet. We've got to add boiling water and mix it a little bit more. Just note that when we add in the boiling water, it's going to get really runny. So you don't want it too sloppy and all over the place. So let's add it in. And I pour it over a hot spoon, sorry, I pour it over a metal spoon, just so it doesn't pour deeply into the mixture. Careful you don't burn your fingers when you're doing this hot boiling water. Okay, lovely. Now you mix it up some more, make sure that butter melts. Actually, I want to show you this, just show you how thin it's going to get. As we mix it in, it just gets thinner and thinner and thinner. You want to make sure it's mixed really well. Don't use an electric mixer. Even for the earlier mixing that we did, I just have used a wooden spatula to do it. The reason for that is if you get too many air bubbles in this cake, it's not going to be as moist as you'd want it to be. So just use your hands, mix it up nicely. Get all the nice thick stuff off the side, so it's all going to be mixed in evenly. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's like something out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory right here. And that should just about do it. Now all we need to do is transfer it into a cake tin. It's not for doggies. It's not for doggies. Okay, it's for people food. You can eat the crumbs that fall on the ground though, but just don't let mummy see. Okay, so I've greased up a tin. I've used a lot of butter to grease this tin because it is a moist cake. It is a sugary cake and sugar tends to stick. So make sure that you've greased up your tin really well. I do use a metal tin. One of the tins I do recommend for this is one where you can either remove the base like this one, or even better if you can unclip the side and remove the sides. They're the best. I don't have one. I'm using what I've got here. So we transfer this into the cake tin. Like that. Oh, it's just really chocolatey vanilla smell just pouring out of this mixture and wafting up to me right now. I'm actually a little bit worried that this cake tin might be too small, in which case we're going to end up with a bit of a muffin, but hey, who cares? It's going to be delicious. I don't care what it looks like, it's what it tastes like. So there we go. Next up we're going to pop it in the oven for 45 minutes on 170. Alright, so now we're done. I'm going to take it out of the oven. Let's have a look. Well, now that we've removed it from the cake tin, all that's left to do now is cut it up and eat it. So here we go. Ah, it smells really chocolatey. Look at that. Perfect. I'm eating it while it's warm because it's always best warm. In fact, I recommend if you do put it in the refrigerator or anything like that, just warm it up in the microwave for a few seconds, get it nice and warm, and then eat it with a bit of ice cream. Perfect. Now enjoy.